Hi, welcome to Barmy Army fan cams after a 2-0 win against West Ham at Old Trafford. I'm joined today by Ian, Shane, Matt, Jack and Fiona. Fiona, your thoughts on that match?
It wasn't the greatest performance, but we did what we needed to do to get the win. Similar to most of the recent games, we've not been very clinical. We had a few chances where Jackie was close to scoring and a few others, but otherwise it was a solid performance. They didn't really put too much pressure on our defence. We just kind of kept everything ticking over. And it was a great occasion for them at Old Trafford. We saw some great passes from Jackie with the space of the pitch and that kind of thing. So overall happy, but we could have scored a few more.
Jack, I know what Fiona's saying there about not being clinical. There weren't, for me anyway, there weren't the chances that a couple of times maybe the last pass wasn't so great. Were you disappointed with how little we actually created?
Yes. I think that, like you said, that it wasn't necessarily, although some of the finishing, as usual, was a bit off at times. Also, it was the decision-making and the final pass as well. Like in the lead-up, that maybe, like in the first half, I think there was a moment where Lauren was running through and she passed the ball towards Kristen and she passed it too hard, which perched Kristen too wide. Then Kristen's pass also wasn't good enough towards the middle, towards Tooney. And we had a lot of moments like that. So it's like we were in very good positions, but didn't necessarily create that as many chances as we should have. And when we did get into goal scoring chances, we fluffed them a few times as well.
Yeah, and Matt, obviously that game will take the headlines because it was the first time the team had played at Old Trafford. Do you think that had any impact on the performance?
Yeah, I think it did, in honesty. I think particularly early on, it seemed like the players needed a bit of time to settle in. I know when Casey was speaking pre-match yesterday, she spoke about, playing the game, not the occasion. And I think, certainly in the first 10, 15 minutes, that was definitely a factor, yeah.
Excuse me. And Shane, that's the negative side of it. Did we see times in the second half where actually the size of the pitch, once we got formation shifted and certain players were in different positions, actually did it look as if that's not a problem for us to play on that pitch as and when we know that match is going to happen, we know we're going to end up playing at Old Trafford again next season? Actually, we've got the players who can almost revel in that atmosphere and in that pitch, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we highlighted in the week as well that playing on that size pitch can benefit quite a few of our players. And second half, like as you said, once positions was sorted out, Jackie, she was all over, in a good way. She was all over the pitch. She had so much space, so much time, and she just controlled it second half. I think, positionally, I think first half she wasn't able to because of where she was put, but second half definitely opened up for her. Lauren as well, she got on the ball more second half. She was able to run into the space, and overall, that's probably what won us the game in the end.
Yeah. And Ian, I know you were busy doing the Twitter report. In terms of the possession we had in that match, West Ham didn't bring a lot, did they?
No, it was, what was it? Final was 74-26.
Okay.
So, yeah, West Ham didn't see a lot of the ball. And the ball they did see, half the time we gave it away to them. It's the thing we keep drumming on about, and we have been for a while now, is our distribution from the back is at times poor, very poor. And, we've probably gave them 2 chances off errors. And all it takes is one of those to go in, and the game's a completely different story. So, but when we had the ball, we were controlling it. But the problem was, it was that as you said, that final ball or that final forward ball into the final third was, again, just wasn't there at times today. The first half, the final ball, we had a couple of balls across, Kristen's cut back across the penalty area, nobody's there, or it's just too far in front of someone. Whereas in the second half, that final ball from Jackie to set up Kristen was sublime. Can we just keep having those, please? Because, that is what we can do.
That was just an all-round great passage of play, and certainly in the highlights, that's the bit I'm most looking forward to seeing. Fiona, leading up to this, Casey was asked about the midfield and whether she was settled on her midfield. Now, today we had a different system, a different midfield. Did it answer the problem for you, or is that still not our best midfield? And again, I'm assuming, and I don't know if we can at this point, if we're saying that everybody is fit.
I don't think it was our best midfield, but it should have been sufficient for the likes of West Ham or Bristol, or the ones that are battling relegation. I don't think we would have been as good against the likes of Chelsea or Man City. But I think in the first half, I did notice Katie Zellum, for example, she was getting closed down quite quickly, but she was always looking to get the ball from the defender. So that worked quite well, which is, I don't think, a role we'd necessarily need against the bigger ones. You'd be wanting Katie Zellum as your defensive midfielder to do your defending, and that isn't her best skill. That would be Hayley Latz. But I think, it seemed to work, but it didn't seem to be like 100% working. There were times when you just you do realise that the players there next to you are not looking up to see where there is space, particularly when West Ham go down to 10 players. We should be having a lot more space in midfield and going forward, and it just didn't seem to happen today.
And I guess that's one of the questions that will rumble on until we get to a point where we think this is a settled team. Jack, following on from last week, it was clearly crucial for us to get 3 points. We also wanted to go and do something that would make everybody proud. We wanted the team to do something that would make us all proud at Old Trafford. Is that, at this stage, everything we've got to do for the next 4 games after this, and cup games, however many they may be? Is that sufficient at this point?
Well, you mean scrape through, get the job done kind of thing?
3 points.
3 points. It's always better to win badly than lose well. The problem is that we've been winning badly and losing badly over the last, since the turn of the year, really. So, if this is the kind of performance that we can look forward to until the end of the season, and you would guarantee me 3 points every time, I would absolutely take it. With that said, I don't necessarily think that this kind of performance will carry us over the line against all the teams that we're scheduled to play. It might be good enough against some, it might be not good enough against any of them. I would like to see us play better as well, be more clinical, concede less chances. Again, as Ian and others mentioned, the chances that West Ham had and that usually other teams have against us are from our own making. So a better team would have punished us today, even though West Ham really, hardly did anything. But they somehow, one or another, they could have had a goal out of this, or maybe even 2.
And there's a reason why West Ham are where they are in the league.
Absolutely.
Matt, there's 4 league games left. It is absolute bottom line that we've got to win all of those and hope, amongst hope, that Arsenal slip up. Or we somehow manage a 12-0 win in a couple of games and manage to get there through goal difference. Was there anybody, and I know we've asked this question pretty much every week, every game, thinking of who wasn't able to play who would you have loved to see out there today? Thinking about the width of the pitch, maybe just having the space. Is there one person in particular who's injured at the moment that you'd really love to have seen?
I think, we'd all love to have seen somebody like Tobin. Obviously, we knew that was never likely to happen. I think she's only just sort of got the boot off. Personally, I'd love to have seen Leslie. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is with her, honestly. So I think most people would probably have expected she to at least be back on the bench by now, if not starting. And I just think with the pace that she's got and her ability to run at defenders, which she will happily do all day long, with the size of the pitch that we've all spoken about, I think she would have got a lot of joy on a day like today. And as you've kind of just alluded to yourself, I think we saw some reasons why West Ham are where they are in the table. Let's be really honest, they're not there by accident. And I just think somebody with the attributes that Leslie's got, I think she could have had quite a fruitful afternoon today.
Yeah, all we ever heard was that she's had a setback, and that no more.
Yeah, she seems to have had 2 or 3 setbacks.
Shane, thinking about these next few league games, thinking about what brings us to the end of the season, one of the criticisms that we've had, certainly in the watch-alongs, has been that we almost come down to our opponent's level. The games we've got left are against teams lower in the table than mid-table, let's say. Do we almost need, and I kind of hesitate on this question a little bit because our performances against City, Arsenal, Chelsea, perhaps not great. But to get us going, we were slow for 45 minutes today. Is there a danger that not so much complacency, but almost matching up to a level with some of these teams might make our own problems?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've all the teams we've got left to play, we've beat this season already. But as you said, if you do bring yourself down to that level each game, there's a reason why some of these teams are where they are in the table. So if you're going to match their level, not exceed it, then your chances of getting through comfortably aren't going to improve with that. There's particularly Bristol is a good example that, we beat them 6-1 at home. We should be looking to do that and more in the fixture we've got coming up against them later on in the season. So, there's always a danger. You don't want to drop your level. You always want to play at the level you can play at, not drop it to who you're playing against.
That will obviously pan out. We'll wait to see that. I know we've got the FA Cup in there. Ian, you've been trying to explain to me what's happening with the FA Cup. I've given up, basically. I've given up. Somebody will tell me what that date is, who we're playing, where it is, and any more details along that. All I can say is if anybody's interested, keep an eye out on the BA Twitter, because I'm quite sure Shane will keep you updated on that. I'm just going to ask Ian a question before I ask you all your favourite question, and all 5 of you can say the name Jackie Gronin to me. Ian, I want to give you the opportunity, because I know when you do Twitter, when you do the Twitter reports, you're really quick. The moment something's happened, you're quick on it. What was your favourite moment of the match? And the one moment that if you were watching it like the rest of us, you would have almost revelled in, enjoyed, and been able to...
It's the second goal. Yeah. Just the whole passage of play, from winning the ball back, getting the ball forward. Jackie's ball again. It's sublime. It's just the word for that. That pass was weight perfect. Christian's run was timed perfectly, and that is the type of goal we scored a lot of in the past, but we haven't seen a lot of in the last. Well, we haven't really seen much of this season. I know we started the season well, but we didn't see a goal like that, if that makes sense, with that type of build-up. So I know Casey's been saying the final ball's been lacking, but today that goal shows what we can do. We just need to now do it on a more consistent basis, week in, week out. And if we can do that, if we can put those types of balls together, we can beat anybody on our day. I don't want to be going into, if we do those types of balls against, say, a Bristol or Brighton, we should beat them. Brighton at the moment is no pushover because they're playing well, and that's our next game. That's a toughie. I know it's at home, but it's still a tough game. Bristol, if we can play like that, we should win, even though it's away. Spurs at home, and then
Brighton's away. Brighton's away, Ian.
Oh,
And you of all people should know that living down the road.
That's going to be very difficult when the stadium is literally 200 yards down the road. I forgot it was away. Oh yeah, but it's still a difficult game.
Yeah,
Brighton are a difficult team. Hope Howe has got that team really well organised now, and the good thing is Arsenal got to play them as well. So we can sneak a win, and they can maybe draw. Be very nice.
Fingers crossed. I think we're all Tottenham this afternoon. Going back to that goal, I think that was the kind of play that interchange between the ball from Jackie to Kristen was one of those moments that it felt right on that Old Trafford stage. But go back in that play. Kristen gets the ball. She wins the ball. And how many of us were all screaming at Jackie to take a shot, to do something? I know a few of us got excited at various times, but she knew what she was doing. She did the right thing. And that ball, like you say, Ian, absolutely inch perfect. So, only one more question for you all. Player of the match. Fiona?
It has to go to Jake's clean jacket.
Jack?
Yeah, I'll obviously go with Jackie, but I will give a shout to Kristen because I think that I'm not saying she had a perfect game, but this is probably one of the best performances from her. Held the ball up well, made space, etc. And the run that she made and the finish was exactly what we want to see from a centre forward at United. With that said, Jackie by a million miles.
And also, in Naomi's, Kristen scored more goals than Alex Morgan. Anyway, Matt, player of the match.
Yeah, the darling of Twitter takes it for me. It's got to be Jackie Gronin today.
Shane?
Jackie.
Ian, we're making it a full house?
Jackie.
Absolutely. Jackie Gronin wins player of the match, and probably quite comfortably in the end. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. We're back next week to look at the Brighton game, which is actually away. And yeah, there's a podcast in midweek. Mark's on, not sure who with yet, but catch him if you can. And we'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.